Good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever the time that Taco Bell closes, everyone. Welcome to the Royals Rundown podcast. My name is Jacob Milham. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Jeremy Greco. Jeremy, how are we doing this Wednesday?
I just watched the Royals take a series from the division-leading Brewers.
What? Are the boys back?
So I'm feeling pretty good, honestly.
Oh, we're so back. We're so back, Jeremy.
I'm not sure we were gone, buddy.
Dang.
Everyone, I saw so many takes last night. I'm sorry, I'm jumping right in because we got to go
for it.
So many takes last night that were like, this is the kind of series, or this is the kind of loss that, like, this proves why I thought they weren't going to win more than 76 or 77 games this year. And other people are like, this is the kind of game that is just going to, like, ruin the season if they don't figure this stuff out. And I'm like, this is the kind of game where the other team got a 3-run home run with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Like, that's not gonna happen very often.
No, it's really not. And
even
for all
if you have a mediocre closer, that's not gonna happen very often.
Nope, sure isn't.
And as much as you could argue that the Royals should have won last night's game, you could also argue that they shouldn't have won today's or Monday's. So, as I said on the TikTok I just finished posting a few minutes ago, I will take that ratio every day, every time. Give me 2 games they shouldn't have won that they get victories for, and one that they should have won and lost, and you'll get places with that.
Though you get to the postseason with that sort of ratio across the entire season.
Yeah, I mean, a 667 winning percentage would just be unreasonably good. That would win every division in baseball.
It would be pretty swell. Yeah, it would be pretty swell. But if you want something really, really swell to increase your Royals fandom, go check out RoyalsReview.com. The best news, analysis, and commentary on all things Kansas City Royals. Listen, we even have Bally Sports stealing our ideas. All right, we had the Royals rumblings first. For years, a staple of the Royals fandom. Now Bally has, they say, you know what? We're going bankrupt. They can't sue us anyways. We don't have anything they want. Okay? They come out with the Royals rumbles. All right? I get it. There's always so many plays on the R word you can do, but let's be real here. You could have done a little bit of checking around, see if maybe anyone else had that corner of the market. Looking at you, Bally. Looking at you.
And the White Sox already did the Royals retreads.
That is true. You know what? That's an excellent point. Oh my! Maybe we should get them for copyright infringement. Do you think we could? You think the Royals rundown is big enough? Gosh dang it! I was really hoping there. But listen, let's go ahead and get down to brass tacks. So Jeremy, just like you said, the Royals, we're recording this like 20 minutes after the last pitch in the Royals win 6-4 over the visiting Milwaukee Brewers, clinching their 6th series win this season. That is crazy. They didn't win their 6th series win until August last year. Folks. Yeah. It is May.
Absolutely wild. I believe they mentioned during the broadcast that they said they'd lost 6 series as well, didn't they? Or maybe
I think
7
so.
or 8, something like that.
Yeah.
But they have a winning record, and that's in part to the 7-game winning streak, as they noted on the broadcast, but it's also in part to the fact that they still have not been swept.
Woohoo!
No Royals getting broomed away so far this year. It'll probably happen eventually. Would be very surprising for that to not happen eventually, but hasn't happened yet.
Exactly. Listen, before we get into the James McArthur talk, which I know is going to take up a good amount of this, talking about some of the stagnant pieces of the offense, I want to give some flowers to Brady Singer, who just had his 100th career start.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
No matter how you get there.
I know it has not been pretty the entire time, but overall it has been productive. And I think some of the historical numbers will back this up. So today he ended with 521 career strikeouts, which if you ask me, that's a good ratio. Over 100 starts, you average a little more than 5 strikeouts per game. That's pretty solid. But that is also 2 more than Royals Hall of Famer Steve Busby for the most by a Royal through 103 career outings.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good company to be in. Let's see here. I had another one.
Figure out why 103 outings. Did Singer have 3 relief appearances that I'm forgetting?
Yeah.
All right. I didn't remember those.
He came out of the bullpen a couple times.
Cool.
And listen, I had a whole bunch more lined up. But unfortunately, my window over here is being funky, so I just lost all of them.
You don't need that stuff. It's too many numbers, Jacob. We're going by vibes, and the vibes right now are immaculate.
Immaculate.
Michael Garcia, boom. He's just doing everything that needs doing. Bobby Witt Jr. hadn't homered in almost a month until today. He knocked one out. And even when he walked a whole bunch this homestand, didn't strike out once. Still had extra base hits all over the place, including a double today that he probably should not have had. But he did get it. So as you give up the 3-run homer you shouldn't have given up, you get the double you shouldn't have gotten. That's how it goes. The baseball giveth and the baseball taketh away. Vinny Pasquantino hammering the ball today. Michael Massey didn't get a hit, unfortunately. Did come up with 2 sacrifice flies, productive outs. This is a thing that we've been talking about with this team is, hey, get guys home from third with less than 2 outs. Sacrifice fly does that.
Yeah, exactly. And they're doing it. Listen, on the whole Bobby Witt thing, here's another tidbit that I saw. His 16th multi-hit game today. All right, that's a lot. That's a lot. I get it. But it's also tied with Shohei Ohtani for the most in MLB now. All right? Like, Bobby Witt Jr. is living up to this contract and much, much more.
Let me just throw out there that when Bobby Witt was first called up, when he was first, they said he's going to make the opening day roster in 2021. I said, listen, this kid isn't hitting so good right now, but his swing looks a lot like Mike Trout's. And I'm really excited for his future. And this year, he looks like Mike Trout at shortstop. He's hitting the ball. Maybe he doesn't have the home runs, but he's got the extra bases. He's got the stolen bases. He's got the batting average. He's got the walks. He's got the lack of strikeouts. He is an MVP candidate right now. He is like, he's if the season ended right now, he would finish top 3 in MVP voting.
Yep.
Guarantee it.
Couldn't agree more. And it's just been very refreshing. I was concerned that Bobby would come out slow out of the gate. That's been a historical thing for him. He usually has slow starts in his young career, and that hasn't happened. Okay? He was red hot at one point. Like you said, he cooled down a little bit, but even his cooling down is an elite level of play.
Yeah.
Like, we're so lucky as Royals fans to have Bobby Witt Jr. on this team. You have teams out there like the Miami Marlins trading away all of their productive pieces, and the Royals might actually be buyers this year. It's a crazy time.
Yeah, speaking of buying, though, Bobby Witt Jr.'s doing things. Salvador Perez, he did have a double last night, so maybe he's about to turn it back on.
Hopefully.
The reason I worry about Salvador Perez isn't so much that he had a couple of hitless games, it's that he looked bad. He was swinging at sliders that were nowhere near the strike zone. He was swinging behind fastballs down the middle. There was nothing good about his plate appearances. And then he hit that double last night. And he got a full day off today, which I think, based on how cold he's been, please, yes, give the man a whole day off. Just a whole, none of this first base designated hitter, a whole day off. Let the man sit on the bench and think about what he's done. And come back here and do better.
You putting Salvi in a dunce cap in the corner?
Yes.
Goodness.
The captain needs a timeout.
Nobody puts Salvi in the corner.
All right.
A quote from Patrick Swayze. That's exactly what he said in the movie.
definitely.
Roadhouse.
Yeah.
That's what he said in Roadhouse.
And that was they famously had the scene where he holds Salvi up over his head and doing the dance or whatever, right?
AI is gonna cook with that one, Jeremy. Lux, get on it right now. Who had a lovely performative piece, by the way, for his
Yes.
post-game analysis.
Speaking of, go ahead, finish what you're saying. And
No.
then I'll say my thing.
Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say he's got a true James McArthur has a true closer's entrance.
Yes.
Now with the flashing lights and the music, and I am pumped, baby.
I wanted to talk to you about that because we're not talking about last night's result. Okay. Nope. That removed. We are going to talk about it later on, but in this instance, I'm not asking about that.
Sure.
Do you think those entrances are more for the fans or for the pitcher?
Oh, for the fans, 100%.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, as a pitcher, I almost would think like maybe I don't want that because that's putting even more pressure on me.
Oof. True.
But some pitchers probably love it, but it is absolutely a thing for the fans. I mean, you can't even think about Hell's Bells without thinking of Trevor Hoffman, right?
Right.
It's just there's iconic moments with the walking. Just that stupid baseball movie. Major League, where Charlie Sheen's character gets the entrance music as well, the Wild Thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are iconic baseball things, and I'm glad that we got rid of the home run celebrations for the most part, it seems, this year.
Yeah.
The only one I've seen was, I think I saw the Mariners were still doing the Trident, but pretty much everyone else has given up on them, which is kind of a bummer. I like give me some personality, give me some hype, give me some drama, and closers entrance music is all of that.
Mm-hmm. It is. It really is. And it is. We talk about all these high leverage situations. Okay. It seems more often than not, the ninth inning is going to be a high leverage situation, and entrances and things that elevate the environment elevate that scenario. I think that's a little bit of a convoluted way to say it. Me personally, I absolutely think it's for the pitcher. Okay. I really do. And I'm not out here saying that James McArthur has a big ego or anything. Maybe it's the inverse. Okay, because we talk about this team having a good pulse on who's in the locker room, how they operate as people, things like that. And I have met so many people in my life that they are elite at what they do, no matter what it is, but they don't believe in it. They don't believe in it. And if I was a pitcher, I would want that music in that environment to say, okay, I can do this, and to really ratchet up my focus in that moment. That's just me. I'm here talking in a microphone, though. Okay, I ain't James McArthur out there.
I mean, I can see it working that way too. There's obviously a difference in personality going on there.
Exactly. But I will say I probably could have had a better appearance against Gary Sanchez than James McArthur had on Tuesday.
I think he was pitching around him.
You know, I hate to even say it, but I'm going to. My first thought was, this looks like a Cal Eldred save opportunity. Like, McArthur was just trying to nibble around the edges of the zone. He was pitching far and away from the biggest threat that he faced, and it just we've seen these starters and the relievers truly raid the zone.
Yeah.
Okay? And James McArthur did not do that on Tuesday night. And that was his downfall.
I suppose. I think he didn't get any help from the fans. There was apparently a group of them that were trying to get on Willie Adamas's case and told him, "We want you to hit a 3-run home run." And he said, "I got you." And then he did.
Yeah, whoever that was, you know who you are. Let's go ahead and turn in those Royals jerseys. Maybe give those
I
tickets
mean,
away to someone else next
I'm
time.
not prepared to tell him to turn in the Royals jerseys, but I will say,
Ah,
please don't do that again. We've learned our lessons, right? We're good now, right?
I right, right. I certainly freaking hope so. But all right, let's go and talk about Tuesday's loss because it was a painful one. It really was. The Royals had that game in control for the most part
Seemed
after
like it
retaking
anyway.
the lead. Yeah, I think there were just like any baseball game, things go your way, things don't go your way. More of the things were going the Royals' way on Tuesday night until that ninth inning. And I'm Jeremy, I just gotta ask you straight up. Does this change anything for McArthur in your eyes? Or this is just a
No,
blip, right?
no. I mean, like I've said multiple times, even good closers blow games every once in a while. I'm pretty sure Wade Davis blew a game, at least one in his big, amazing season, where he didn't give up any home runs, but I think he still blew one game. It happens, and McArthur is still young. He's still kind of working into this a little bit. There's going to be some growing pains. He is not peak Wade Davis. He's not peak Craig Kimbrell. He's not peak Trevor Hoffman. You just, I think people got a little spoiled by just how dominant HDH was. That is a near impossibility to accomplish that same thing again. The fact that the
Mhm.
Royals have 3 or 4 guys right now between McArthur, Schreiber, Zerpa, and maybe you want to count Nick Anderson. Maybe you want to count Chris Stratton. I could see going either way. I could see excluding both of them.
Yeah.
That you can mostly rely on is already like, all right, yeah, cool. But to have even one guy as good as any of those 3 were in 2014 and 2015 is just asking an awful lot. I
It
think
is.
people don't remember. Greg Holland, I think, actually missed almost all of 2015 due to the UCL tear.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
And
about
so they
that.
had Ryan Madsen came in, and he was dominant all year. And then they got to the postseason, and suddenly he was hittable. It's really hard to just be dominant for an entire season.
Mhm.
And I think the Royals fans just need to accept, like, sometimes you will lose. It will happen. It will not be the end of the world. You will win more often than not with this bullpen if you have a lead going into the late innings. And I think that's all you can really ask for. I don't think there's anything wrong with James McArthur. I don't think the Royals need to go out and get another closer. I think that I was really kind of hoping that Q would just go ahead and put him in, even with the 4-run lead, because he'd already warmed him up, and
Yeah.
let him just go have an easy one, just to be like, yeah, all right, I gotta win now. To get the bad taste of those losses out of my mouth. Let's go do our stuff.
Yeah,
And
I was kind of hoping for that too. Sorry.
yeah, but he didn't, and Tyler Duffy is starting to come back down to earth. It seems, perhaps. Hopefully not too far back down to earth, but created a save situation. So McArthur came out, and in arguably a much more difficult situation than even if he'd come in with a 3-run lead and nobody on. He got the job done. Now
Yep.
I'm still a little concerned because there were no strikeouts in there, and I don't think he struck anybody out on Sunday. He might have struck one person out. I want to see more strikeouts from my closer,
Yeah.
just to know that he's really in control of things, because if they put the bat on the ball, you don't know what's going to happen. Today he got
Right.
2 weak ground balls. He got 2 outs. Good play by Garrett Hampson, playing at first base for the first time in his major league career, and good job by McArthur to get over to the foul line, pick that up, and toss it to him to finish things off. But it could have gone, some different ways if those ground balls had gone in different directions or done a weird bounce. So I would like to see more strikeouts. I'm a little bit concerned about that, but these are 1-inning appearances, so sometimes you're going to strike
Mhm.
out the side, and sometimes you're not going to strike anybody out, and you just kind of got to deal.
Which let's talk about the bullpen as a whole for a second, because we saw a good amount of the bullpen today.
Yes.
Right after Singer went out, we saw 6 bullpen arms, And that was a lot of situational stuff. Like Angel Zerpa, he came in for 1 out. Tyler Duffy, all that he got was that 1 out, even if he did give up 2 earned runs when it was all said and done. But overall, it was a good outing from the bullpen. Nick Anderson, unfortunately, his scoreless inning streak did end today, allowing 1 earned run, but after walking 2 batters, which has not been his prerogative at all this season.
Yeah.
I still feel good about this bullpen.
I do too.
I do. They're coming back down to the mean a little bit. I feel like I still think like they're a top 14 unit in Major League Baseball. Maybe I still think they're one of the better units in the AL Central. But it is we're just gonna have to see how this whole season goes, because it is that's why we have 162 games, folks. That's why we don't have just like 21 of these games.
One of the wild things about the 2015 season was that the worst reliever in that bullpen was maybe like Franklin Morales, might have been somebody, but like a guy who was mostly effective but not completely shut down. That was their worst reliever that year.
Yeah.
You don't get bullpens like that very often. So to have even, as we kind of said, 3 guys who you can mostly count on, and then 2-3 more guys, because Will Smith is kind of coming back a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed. That you can go, okay, well, he's not definitely going to crap the bed. Is good. I mean, not everybody can be out here being the Rangers with their bullpen. That's unstoppable right now.
I know you said 2015, but I'm back looking at 2014.
Yeah.
Right now. And you look at that bullpen and you see guys like I'm going to butcher his name. I really am. Francisco Bueno.
Yeah, that's how you say that.
Okay. He pitched in 30 games.
Yeah. I don't even remember him.
Yeah. 30 games. Jason Fraser pitched in 23 games. He was pretty effective. What'd you say?
He was good, though.
Yeah, he was good.
He was one of their trade acquisitions.
Michael Marriott. Thank you. But every bullpen just needs these role player guys.
Yeah.
All right. And they're going to come in, they're going to make a good amount of appearances, and they're going to go on about their way. Golly, this team, the damn HDH, 3 relievers, all with sub 1.5 ERAs.
I mean, even in 2014, those 3 guys carried that bullpen. The rest of the bullpen was nothing to talk about. I don't know if you remember, Jacob, the Aaron Crow's inning is the 6th inning stuff from Ned Yost.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a time when you had those 3 guys and no one else. And it worked because those 3 guys were elite.
Yep.
And then the next year, like I said, you had those 3 guys. You had 2 guys who were still elite because like Holland got injured. Madsen came in and was also elite for the regular season. And then everybody else was at least good, like above average. It was insane. That was a big part of why they won so many games that year, was just didn't matter when they went to the bullpen because they didn't have a 5th starter. I don't know if you remember, Chris Young and Jeremy Guthrie kind of went back and forth as the 5th starter, depending on who was giving up the fewest runs and just not like crapping the bed. Now, Chris Young looked pretty good sometimes, but he looked pretty bad other times. And he was a hero in the playoffs for sure.
He was.
But he had his missteps even in 2015. So having that bullpen, and even when he was on, Chris Young wasn't going more than 5. So having the bullpen that could cover all those innings was just huge. And this year, the Royals have benefited from the starters generally going much deeper, especially Seth Lugo has gone pretty deep in games. Brady Singer's gone deep in a couple. He's also spent a lot of time going only 5, fewer than 6.
Yeah.
Alec Marsh was doing pretty good. I think he was usually getting 6 out there. Michael Walker's usually getting at least 6. And who am I forgetting? Cole Reagans. He'll give you 6 or 7 usually. So they've been really fortunate in that they haven't had to overwork their bullpen. They kind of got in a little bit of a jam the last couple of weeks where they had a couple of bad starts,
Mm-hmm.
some weird bullpen stuff happening. And they've had to use their bullpen a little bit harder. And I think that this is a bullpen that if you keep them well rested, you're going to be happy with them. And if you overwork them, they're not going to bounce back as because they're not elite that way.
No.
So that's something that we really the team, I suppose, mostly needs to keep an eye on going forward is, hey, Brady, I love you. Can you throw fewer than 30 pitches in the first inning? We need you to get a little bit deeper in the game.
Let's at least get through 6, guy.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We know you can do it. Let's go out there and do it. But just to put my 2 cents before we move on from McArthur, this doesn't change anything for me in his long-term view. If you can look at, I just looked at Greg Holland's 3 All-Star seasons, right? And even I think in 2 of the 3, he had a losing record. So even the great Greg Holland out there, who was saving multiple games every month for the Royals, even he still had his bad nights. It happens. And I loved how the locker room vocally came up and supported McArthur, but I felt really bad for the guy seeing his Bally Sports interview last night. Like you could just see it in his eyes. Like he was beating himself up about it. He knew, like, he wasn't brushing it off. He was carrying that weight into the locker room with him, and he felt like he let the team down. He came in today. He got his 8th save of the season, already far surpassing his 2023 total, and he is now back on the right track.
Yeah. One more thing I want to throw out there is Royals Review account tweeted today about how people wanted Greg Holland demoted after he had a 4.00 ERA in the April of 2013. He went on to have a pretty good season, pretty good career.
Yeah.
So maybe just, slow your roll a little bit sometimes. I think, see, this is where, again, I absolutely love Q. He looked at Will Smith and said, Will, you do not have it, buddy. I got to make a change. And then he looks at James and he goes, you've got it. You just had a bad one. And he can tell the difference. That's what I love about Matt Quatraro, is that he is on this stuff. He is paying attention to not just like, oh, you lost the game, or, oh, you're my closer. He is paying attention to everything and making the right calls.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah, he is. He's batting well above 500 for the right calls. There are some onesie twosie things that we could nitpick at, but I ain't gonna trade him for any other manager out there anytime soon. First off, we have some breaking news.
Oh, breaking news
from the Pittsburgh Pirates. I just gotta say this. Yeah, Paul Skeens is getting called up to the MLB. MLB
was just drafted last year, right?
Yeah.
That was just last year?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
He is he's good.
I mean, it makes perfect sense if you've seen what he's doing to the AAA batters.
Yeah. He is it's a little bit of service time manipulation, if you will. I think that's the only reason why he wasn't in the show yet.
I don't know. I think I would have liked to see him pitch at AAA before I called him up after I drafted him last year.
But he's so good.
He is. I can't even right now. He's pitching Saturday. That's gonna be, whoo boy.
That's gonna be must watch television right there.
I know. I've been getting notifications from my MLB app every time he pitches. Hey, go watch him in the minors. Like, the MLB really is excited about him, and I think everybody else better get on board that train.
That they should. There are a couple of people who need to get off the Royals train right now, and I'm looking at Nelson Velasquez and MJ Melendez. What did you say, Jeremy?
Nice transition. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, it's going to be a rough transition to a rough nickname here, the Easy Out Boys. All right, because that's all they are right now, Jeremy. They are easy outs. This is like the Sandlot chanting, "Move it in, easy out right here, plays at first," because that is all those two guys have been doing in the past couple of weeks. There's no matter how you slice it, it has been a rough stretch for these two. I'm looking at Nelson Velasquez first, a 100 batting average in his last 15 games, 4 for 40 with with 1 RBI, 12 strikeouts to 3 walks. And it's similar results for MJ Melendez. He has 15 strikeouts in his last 44 at-bats, batting 114 right now. No RBIs, only 1 walk. We talked about how much his plate approach had gotten better earlier on this season, and that has just quickly evaporated.
Yeah, it has.
And he looks very lost at
He
the
sure
plate
does.
right now. So, Jeremy, here's the predicament though. Folks can it turns my stomach every time that I see the entire outfield and designated hitter usually batting in the bottom half of the lineup. That is not how baseball is usually played or should be played.
Yeah. I mean, not unless you've got some real boppers in your infield, all over your infield.
And granted, there's Salvi and the infield have been doing their thing for the past handful of games, but it would be nice if Hunter Renfroe looked like the Dollar General version of Mike Trout again. It would be nice if MJ Melendez found his early April form once again. And Kyle Isbell's Kyle Isbell. We know what he is. He ain't going to be batting in the top half of the lineup anytime soon. So, Jeremy, here's the thing, though. Just like folks were calling for McArthur to, like, hey, he ain't a closer. We need to move on. We need to find another option on the trade market, yada, yada, yada. Folks want a quick fix to the outfield. And I don't think there is one, but I think okay, what is it?
You ready for this? It's not really a fix for the outfield.
Okay.
It's a fix for designated hitter.
Ooh, all right.
Freddie Fermin, over the last 2 weeks, slashing 273, 360, 409, 121 WRC plus before today's game where he doubled and walked.
Okay.
He's hitting.
Yeah, that's true.
So play him. He can catch. He can designate a hit. Salvi can catch or play first. Vinny can designate a hit. And then you probably go with Melendez and Renfroe in the outfield because I like their gloves better than Velasquez's. Maybe you demote Velasquez. I'm not sure. Bring up Lofton again. Sure, why not?
Screw it.
And that's what I would do.
Okay.
That's the immediate choice I would make is Freddie Fermin gets more at bats.
I think that's a good quick fix. Kind of ride the hot bat, if you will.
It's not a long-term fix.
No.
But it is a short-term quick fix.
Exactly. And the Royals right now, they're just playing to stay above 500 right now, okay? We don't need a multi-year solution in the outfield. All right, we just need something to help buoy this lineup, and I think that choice would be a great one from Quatrero. I'm curious if he does that a little bit more.
Then I guess what I would say is after you do that, I'm not sold on Drew Waters, right?
Okay.
So what I'm saying is Max Reaper wrote an interesting article on Royals Review about Brandon Belt, who is still an unsigned free agent, and he had a very good year last year.
He did.
Now he's a first baseman, but again, you can use him at designated hitter, and he doesn't have to play every day. No. There's no reason you can't sit him if you're like, well, Salvi needs to DH today. Okay, then sit him. Life goes on. They also apparently the Royals were looking at Luis Arias, but according to Lesky's newsletter this morning, they were looking at Arias. Found out that they were way behind everybody else looking at Arias. But their plan, if they were going to get him, was apparently to hit him and lead him off. And then Michael Garcia would have moved down in the order, which makes a lot of sense considering how much better Michael has been with runners on base than with the bases empty this year. So they obviously didn't make that move. But as we get deeper into the season, the Angels, Brandon Drury, is a guy that I've kind of coveted for a little while. He could be on the market. The Angels are not going anywhere.
No, they're not.
And I think he's on his last year of his contract. So, and there's other guys out there too that should be able to be had fairly cheap as rentals.
Okay.
And I think the Royals, here's another bold prediction. I think the Royals are going to move fast on this Not
Yeah.
like tomorrow fast, but talk to me at the end of May, and I bet they have somebody.
Okay, I like that. And it's what I mean the Aroldis Chapman trade was that in May or was that in June?
I think that was in June, but
Okay.
I wouldn't swear to it.
I think if I recall correctly, even then, like that was a very, very early move, and
Yeah.
at least like related to the MLB trade deadline flurry that we usually see in July. This Luis Arias trade is very early in its own right.
And there's almost never a trade at the end of April, beginning of May.
No,
The
no.
Royals traded him, at the end of June.
Okay, gotcha.
His
All
last
right.
game for the Royals was June 29th. His first for the Rangers was July 2nd.
Okay, my bad. I thought it was May. But all that being said, I think JJ is going to be pretty active, or at least he's going to be more forward leaning, if you will.
The Royals were aggressive all offseason. It sounds like they were apparently calling about Arias.
Yeah.
So I think they're still being aggressive out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to, I've also said that I'm not super worried about the offense because I do think that they're streaky and they're all in a cold streak right now and they will find another hot streak, maybe even soon. But I wouldn't mind having one more guy in there who's more consistent to go with Vinny and Salvi and Bobby. And at this point, I'm about ready to start calling Michael Massey consistent.
Yeah, maybe.
Just need one more guy, really. Just give me one more consistent guy, and then everybody else can be streaky, and I'll live with it.
So,
especially with this pitching staff.
Yeah. So I think the most impactful solution is going to come from outside the organization right now. Yeah. I don't think there's a guy that you can say, hey, come on up and you're going to fix the lineup right now. I mean, I'm looking at guys on the 40-man just right now in AAA. Austin Nola, Nick Prado, Nick Lofton, Tyler Gentry, and Drew Waters. I don't know for sure. Like, I can't pick any one of those guys and say, yeah, they're going to come up and they're going to be great for the Royals, and they're really going to prove their doubters wrong. I do want to say, Drew Waters, I am believing more and more in his bat at AAA Omaha. Currently posting a 155 WRC plus, 333 batting average, 421 on base, 559 slugging. Okay, like he's getting it done. So I'm of the camp. I would prefer to see Nelson Velasquez go down to AAA Omaha because he looks even more lost than MJ Melendez right now. Go get him a reset in AAA. Bring up Drew Waters. See if he has turned a corner maybe. But that's just like short term solution stuff. I don't believe in Drew Waters in the long term.
My concern when I'm looking at Drew Waters' stats is that 14.2% strikeout rate in AAA is very high. Or not strikeout, swinging strike rate.
Oh, yeah.
And the 444 BABIP is also very high, though you can account for that with a lot of hard hit balls. But the swinging strike rate of 14.2% versus the strikeout rate of 25.2%, those don't match. That seems like it's destined to cause some trouble with some strikeouts in the near future for Drew.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's we're at the point though, like let's call him up, and I want him to prove it either way. He's one of these players that I think you just have to know the answer once and for all. Is this a toolsy quadruple A guy, or is this a guy who can at least play all the outfield positions and help this lineup? I think we need that answer even more so than Nelson Velasquez. We knew he was a lottery ticket. Okay, we traded away Jose Cuas for him like that, and we've seen how he's done this year.
Yeah,
it's Nelson Velasquez doing what he's done even so far is exceeding expectations. But if we want to keep him around the long term, it's better to send him to AAA Omaha than keep on trotting him out there as the primary designated hitter guy, in my opinion. Jeremy, any closing thoughts on this before we move on?
Gosh, MJ Melendez and Nelson Velasquez both seem at different points like they're nowhere near ready to hit major league pitching, and like they're about ready to break out into a hot streak. Melendez had the triple last night. Velasquez had an opposite field double, I think.
Yeah.
So what'd you say? Sorry.
No, I didn't say nothing.
Oh, so that's it's like, oh, they're so close. But then I watch MJ Melendez flail at pitches in the dirt today, and like the swing doesn't look good. The choice to swing doesn't look good. Just everything is bad. I don't know, man. Something's got to give, but I don't know what it is.
It's nothing is going to change if you change nothing.
That's true.
And I think they just have to change something. And I got a flame Bleacher Report on a take. So after the Arias trade, there's plenty of other good trade targets in Miami. That team sucks right now, but they do have some good individual talent available.
Bell.
Say again?
Josh Bell.
Yeah, Josh Bell is available. But the one everyone's talking about is Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, 26 years old, still got a lot left in the tank.
I would take him.
I would take him, but I'm not going to take him at the trade package that Bleacher Report
And what did Bleacher Report say?
Bleacher Report said the Royals need to give up Caden Wallace, the top position or the top batting prospect is what I'll call him. Give up Caden Wallace, Frank Mazzucato, and Blake Mitchell.
No.
Give up
I'm not giving up all three of them.
Yeah, give up all three of them.
If you said Caden Wallace and Frank Mazzucato and then a throw-in guy, I would do that probably.
Yeah, you would?
Yeah, I think I would do that. I don't have a lot of faith in Caden Wallace, and I honestly don't have a lot of faith in Mazzucato. So, how much is left on Chisholm's contract? Do you remember?
I think he has 3 years left.
So, yeah, for 3 years
year.
of Jazz Chisholm, I would give up those guys that I don't believe in. That are otherwise highly rated.
I'm
2.5 years. He's free agent at the end of 27.
Okay, thank you. So, and yeah, I get it. He's fairly cheap on his injuries have kind of kept his value down in arbitration and things like that, but he still just hasn't been entirely available the past 3 seasons. He had that All-Star campaign in 2022 and then was injured after that. He is
Curse of the MLB The Show cover.
Yeah, I know, right? That was I believed in the Madden curse, and I'm kind of believing in the show curse as well.
Yeah,
because Vladimir Guerrero is getting hit with that real bad right now. I mean, Zips has Chisholm projected as a 2.4 FWAR guy down the stretch,
and he could play the outfield too.
He can. He can play second, and he played second and center. I think those are his 2 primary spots for the Marlins. I don't know, man. I just that's aggressive, and I want the Royals to be aggressive. I just don't know if Jazz Chisholm is the guy I want them to be aggressive for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I am not willing to trade Blake Mitchell at this point.
Yeah, because
they took too big of a swing getting him. To give him up now is just that. No, you've got to play that hand.
Yeah, that seems like selling low on a guy you shouldn't be selling low on, because he's looking pretty good for the Fireflies right now. I will say that. So I at least wanted to talk about that. Jeremy, anything to add before we move on?
Nope, just play Freddie Fermin more, please.
Yep, please and thank you. Well, we hopefully we'll get to see a good chance of that in this 4-game set coming up against the Los Angeles Angels out in California. Yeah, I know these Royals recaps are going to get real rough man, these are going to get pretty
Usually,
bad.
I usually do the Saturday games, right? And usually the Saturday West Coast games, they at least play in the afternoon. And no, not this weekend.
Nope, not this one.
Also, heads up for everybody out there who watches. Well, anyway, you watch the Friday night game is Apple TV, Apple Plus.
Oh, thank you.
So you gotta up your, if you want to watch that one, you gotta have your Apple Plus subscription. Good news. MLB TV subscribers can get 2-month free trial to Apple Plus. I have extolled the virtues of this TV streaming service so many times. Let me just throw it out there again. They've got For All Mankind. They've got Severance. I'm blanking on everything.
Yeah, you're blanking right now.
They've got a bunch of good stuff. Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
It is worth it for Ted Lasso alone. Okay. So go get you your Apple Plus 2-month trial, watch your Royals on Friday night, and then try some of the other shows that they have. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
I am going to be pleasantly surprised if I get decent sleep this weekend. First pitch at 9:38.
Yeah.
Oh, if any of them go to extra innings.
For TikToks Friday night or Sunday after. Are they playing tomorrow night? Is it tomorrow night that they're playing?
Yeah, it's tomorrow night.
Don't look for TikToks tomorrow night or Friday night, or if I do, they'll be half mid-game ones like I did Monday night.
I'm about to go to bed.
Yeah, I am not staying. I got work Friday morning. I can't do that.
That's true.
I gotta drive back to Georgia. It's Mother's Day weekend this weekend, so don't forget that either. Say hi to your moms if you're still talking to them. And however that goes, no pressure. If you're no contact with your parents, I get it. But I still see my mom, and I got to go down there, and hang out with her for a week for her Mother's Day. So
hey, that sounds like a great Mother's Day present, man. I think.
She made me spend money on her too, but
Oh, boo! I thought it was a moneyless. It's like, I just want some quality time with you, son.
That's what I should tell her. I'm here. That's your Mother's Day present. And see how that goes.
I'm a gift enough, Mom.
My present is your present.
Did you hear what Honey said?
Yeah. My present is your presence.
Before we move on to the Q&As and our reviews for tonight, let's go ahead and tee up this Angels series. So Thursday night, we will see Reed Detmers face off against Michael Wacha. Waka is looking back to bounce back from his rough last go around. So hopefully
rough several starts in a row, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of been slowly declining.
Control.
What'd you say?
He's got to get it under control.
He does.
I believe in him.
I do as well.
He's got to follow through. The Angels are a great team to get right against with Mike Trout out of the lineup and Shohei Ohtani across the city.
Yeah, they're not as daunting as they once were. So I hope this is a series the Royals go in and win 3 out of 4. I think that's realistic.
If they could take 3 out of 4, I think that would be spectacular. If they take 4 out of 4, I'm gonna be throwing a party.
Yeah, and just think we'll know the results by the time we are recording once again on Sunday. So that might be a party podcast. Well, I guess now that I say that, first pitch is at 4:07 our time. Jeremy, right. I hate time zones. Why can't the sun just turn on and off like a ceiling fan?
Because unfortunately, Jacob, the world is not flat.
What?
Yeah,
Jeremy,
I hate to break it to you.
What?
The world is not flat. It is round.
It's a sphere, and it's not even a perfect sphere.
Here's the Earth, round. You're too young for that, Jacob. But some fans out there will know what that reference was.
Oh, okay.
But I am tired. Then take a nap. Then fire the missiles.
Yeah, I don't get that reference at all.
Oh, Jacob.
I will say, I thought that the moon, a planet, if you will, was the only perfectly round thing other than Rex Hudler's head in this entire world.
Drop a deuce, baby.
Drop a deuce on the outside. What is this man saying?
I knew exactly what he meant. But it's just hilarious. I feel like he had to know what he was saying. He had to, right?
Right? I don't think he did because
tell me he did that intentionally.
I don't think he did because he like stumbled into it. He's like dropping a deuce on the outside, and then it was silence on the broadcast after that because that whole box was just cracking up.
They all got the cough button like hammered down as hard as they can.
Put it on a t-shirt and sell it in the team store, dropping a deuce on the
outside on my favorite planet, the moon.
The moon. All right, we're falling off the rails here a little bit. Let's go ahead and get to our Spotify Q&As.
Let's hear what some more intelligent people have to say.
Yeah, listen, it is. I think that's what people don't realize yet is we just use them to educate us and to farm content, right? That's how that works.
Sure, yeah, that's what happens. Huh?
Well, so in that spirit, I did have a longer question. We only got 3 responses. I was kind of hoping to get more, but that's okay. My question that I asked was: a fan approaches you that hasn't watched the Royals since 2015. Why should they start watching again, and who do you warn them about? Like it's like, well, Bobby Wood Jr. is pretty great, pretty fun, but don't get too attached to don't get too attached with Hunter Renfroe. Don't go out and buy his jersey. None of that. So we got 3 responses. Luke57 says the lineup is so young and fun. The starting rotation is plenty of fun. It is a good time to be a Royals fan, but you probably don't want to fall in love with the vets they signed this offseason. I knew I was pulling that from somewhere. I'm sorry, Luke. See, What did I say? What did I say about stealing content from y'all? Royal Rupert said, hey, 2015 Royals fan, you should start watching this year's version of the team if you enjoyed the classic sci-fi movie, The Black Hole. The movie describes 2/3 of the lineup. That was a good one. That was a good one, Rupert. I like it. Corey Michael says, I would tell them the fun youth movement is mostly back. The most fun it's been to watch the Royals since Kane, Haas, and Moose were together.
Yep.
Don't fall in love with Renfroe. Yep. None of these veteran position players have worked out at all for the Royals. They are batting 0 for 3 on them.
Yeah.
Still someone had to be worse than Nelson Velasquez the past month, I guess.
Yeah. 3 someones.
True. All right, man. Let's go and get on out of here with some Royals reviews. Jeremy, I'm going to put you on the spot to bat leadoff tonight for us.
All right. Bet. I got for you a classic.
Okay.
Star Trek. Star Trek is so good.
All right.
Watch more Star Trek. All the Star Treks. Every Star Trek. Okay? I like Star Trek. Have I mentioned that? Star Trek is good.
I think so. I think you mentioned that.
So watch some Star Trek. All right? That's all I got for you.
Okay. You know what? I love it. I was just talking, or someone was talking to me about Star Trek because I don't know jack shit about Star Trek, honestly.
Fix it, Jacob.
How are we married?
I know
That's
Charles.
A question I want an answer to, Jacob.
Yeah. I know Charles Xavier's in it. That's about
it. Bad, Jacob.
Bad.
Deep Space Nine is my favorite. Just for the record.
Well, I'll have to go find out what that is. In the vein of visual entertainment, I do want to review The Menu, a movie from 2002, or not 2002, 2022. Goodness gracious. I added I subtracted 20 years there. Ralph Fiennes. What is her name? Anna, I think it's Anna Taylor-Joy is her name. Basically, long story short, it's a cooking film with horror and thriller elements in it. And it sounded so campy. I remember watching the trailer for it. It looked so campy. I was like, this is... What are we doing? This Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives meets Saw? Like, is that what we're doing here? And if you had to put it in like if you had to put in a middle school comparison, yeah, that's kind of what it is. But it's great. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. Honey and I rewatched it last night, so that was a great watch. So go check it out. I think we found it on where. Oh, it's only available for rent or to buy, which is very inconvenient in today's streaming market. Jeremy, anything to add before we get out of here?
Nope, not about baseball.
I liked Wonka.
Oh yeah, Honey liked Wonka. She watched.
Okay.
Gives Wes Anderson vibes.
It gives Wes Anderson vibes.
Did look like it gave those vibes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
All right, listen here. Here are the last things. Play Marvel Midnight Suns.
Yep.
Play Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Go check out royalsreview.com.
Yep.
Follow us on social media if you want to interact with us more.
Yep.
And until next time, go Royals!
Yep.